What up, Bulls Nation? We've got a fresh CHGO Bulls pod coming up for y'all right around the corner. On today's show, HoopsHype and their top 26 by position rankings. They dropped their centers earlier this week. We will talk about where Nikola Vucevic landed. Pretty impressive. Plus, is the 25-26 Chicago Bulls season the most important, the most critical of the Arturas and Marc Eversley era? We will talk about it next. What's going on, Bulls Nation? Welcome in to the CHGO Bulls podcast. Coming to you from our studios here in West Loop, downtown Chicago. I'm Peck, Bulls_Peck. That is Big Dave. Bam, bam. BAWL Sports. Will the Gottlieb, perfectly coiffed. Will_Gottlieb, and queen of the controls, the one and only Katie Duffy. Katie, how you doing?
Happy Friday.
Woo! Clocking them T's.
Clocking the T's.
Clocking the T's. What were the poll results of that poll yesterday?
Most people did not know what it meant.
Hey, old people.
Shout out to all of you.
Clocking T. The verb and noun don't make sense together. I stand on that. How are we doing, gentlemen? Dave,
I'm great. No, I'm great. I enjoy this stuff now because before when explaining slang to you, which I've given up years ago, trying to do to you. So I just allow other people to do it and just sit there and watch them go through that. And that's just a fun thing for me to sit and just watch. I'm like, yeah, it's going to be a task.
Did you know that?
Yes.
That particular
absolutely
piece of slang?
Yes, absolutely knew that.
All right.
But yeah, man, once I hear, I'm like, no, let Matt, he'll figure it out. And then when Matt hears it.
Or I won't.
No, you will, because you'll ask a million questions to that person and you'll figure it out and then you'll start using it. And then you won't. After a while, you'll say it and you're like, all right, I'm done with this. Back to real English.
No.
Give me the real stuff.
Goat, have you adopted any slang phrases or words from Gen Z or younger?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah.
Like I think the one that I kind of use now that I think has been credited to Gen Z is mid. Okay. Calling things mid to be like, well, hey, guess what? I spend my life talking about the Bulls every day. There are a lot of ways to say mid, but mid is a very quick, easy, short, one-syllable word to get the point across.
I feel like that one's pretty millennial.
So is the problem with clocking the T
like
that it's too many syllables? Is that the problem?
Yeah.
I'm always looking for fewer syllables for the most part.
Okay, so it depends on the context. Too many syllables for you is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, he's always shortening words for sure.
Right.
Same output with less work?
Yeah.
Come on.
Matt, he shortens so many words. It's impressive.
This is why I get in arguments with you about how you abbreviate certain words, Katie.
Did we ever solve the vacation debacle?
Yeah, we solved it. I'm right and Katie's wrong.
I'm right.
Because people who abbreviate vacation to the
that goes out of town and
vacay
Katie goes cow.
As spelling VACA is crazy because that sounds like vodka, which is cow.
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
Thank you, Fred. You got to get the actual audio drop of Will Ferrell / Mugatu from Zoolander. That's what we need.
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
Yeah, no, it's vacant. Come on
now. Crazy
the other one, and I can't remember who I was going back and forth with on Twitter the other day, is people who abbreviate Vooch, V-U-C.
Yeah.
And I read that.
Yep,
I'm like,
I do that too.
That says Vuck.
That's how you spell his name.
Not the abbreviated pronunciation.
Give me
Spell it phonetically.
Give me another word where you change the spelling of the full word for the abbreviation.
Vacay.
You see, and you're incorrect
Vooch.
about that too. You're wrong about both of them.
No, I'm right about both of them.
You're wrong about. Okay, I'm done. I'm removing myself from this
Fridays,
toxic
baby.
atmosphere.
How would you phonetically spell Vooch?
It's not phonetic.
Yes, it is.
It's not, because we're not toddlers. We know that we're talking about Nikola Vucevic.
Yeah, speak for yourself.
That's right.
I'm still
I'm chilling.
14%
I'm chilling
toddler.
too.
Enjoy the show.
Vooch. Speaking of Vooch, He's our first topic today.
Okay. All right, we're back. All right.
We are going to talk big picture, AK, and whether or not this season is the season, the critical season for him to start getting things right around here.
Yeah.
But first, HoopsHype put out their top 26 centers list the other day, and we have discovered Mr. Reliable Vet, Vuce himself, came in at number 13 on HoopsHype's top 26 centers for the upcoming 25-26 season. Coming off a season in which he averaged 18.5 points and 10 boards per game, also 3.5 assists, shot 53% from the field and just over 40% from three. It goes overlooked. It gets swept under the rug. It doesn't get talked about because mostly what Bulls fans talk about when it comes to Vuce is, for the love of God, why is this old man still here? And they have problems with his defense. They have problems with his rim protection. They don't see him as a fit for this younger generation of players as AK has slowly overhauled the roster. But 18, 10, 3.5 on 53-40 last season.
Impressive.
Like, first of all, give Vuce his freaking credit. Like, come on now, man. Vuce was incredible last season.
He was.
So reliable. And I think that's why you might have been initially surprised to be like, wow, Vuce, really? Top 15 center in the NBA? I think a lot of Bulls fans would not see that coming. I really do. I'm not trying to be like a smart ass.
It's not you I'm laughing at.
Okay.
Look at your screen. Oh, you missed it. Okay.
Oh, Katie! Katie! Fix that immediately. That's right. Vuck was ranked the 13th best center in the NBA.
He didn't see it. No, he did not. He didn't see it.
No, I wasn't looking at the ticker. I was looking at my fellow people making
I got
points.
you. Don't worry. I got you, bro. I got you.
Give me a double OCH, Katie. Come on.
Shout out to Vuce.
I
agree with you.
I was trying to sing my praises to Vuce and talk about how it is justified that he's ranked this high.
But I completely agree with you. I think he deserves to be a top 15 center in the NBA, especially the year we saw him put on. It was his best season since his All-Star season when he was in Orlando. That's when they went and made the trade, why the excitement was so high for Vuce, because of the season that he had. And you're like, oh, he has this kind of potential? Oh, yeah, this will be an awesome thing. And he was just super consistent. And he defied, father time on top of that as well. Because getting older, usually when you're a center and you're getting a little older, it gets a little harder on you. And it just looked like he was like, no, I found exactly what I need to do and where I'm comfortable at. And, I mean, he thrives, man. Like, the three-point shooting really brings it home. Like, he's always going to be solid, in the interior, making those moves, the up and unders, the quick baby hooks. All those things are always going to be there. The rebounding, all that's going to be there. But when the three-point shot is hitting, that's a whole different ball player right there. That's when you become a fringe all-star kind of guy. And that's when you get to be in the top 15 as far as centers are concerned. But the consistency of what he did, not missing so many games, or anything like that. And maybe at the first part of the season, he was playing, maybe. This is maybe speculation. Maybe he was playing, to say, hey, get me up out of here.
He's showcasing himself.
Yes, correct. Yeah. Maybe he was doing it like that. But regardless, after he found out he wasn't and he came back from being injured, he was still balling out. He was still doing his thing. So it didn't deter him because he is a true professional out there on the floor, man. So I think it is a very well-earned and well-deserved spot for him to be a top 15 center in the NBA.
Yeah, and I think also, like, the system really revived him. Like, he would never say this publicly, and he hasn't said it privately either. I'm just saying, like, when you watch the way that the offense worked for the last couple of years with DeRozan and Levine and Kobe sort of starting his breakout and getting more touches, there wasn't, and like you're playing with just not a lot of spacing out there, not a lot of three-point shooting. It's hard to carve out a role for yourself. It's hard to feel confident in your shooting ability when you're asked to be a floor spacer, when you want to have the ball at the elbow, when you want to have the ball on the block. That's a tough adjustment. And, I do think it's on him to adapt his game to the talent around him. That's part of being a professional. But it's also, I think, a challenge for a lot of guys who are used to playing a certain style and now are asked to adjust that on the fly. So I think this past year was really rejuvenating for him, at least from my perspective watching. the way he was able to attack closeouts as the trail big in transition, the way that he was able to get the ball moving side to side, playing in pick and roll with Giddey and Kobe, and just making plays. Like, it didn't feel like he had the ball a lot more than he did in previous years. Certainly not on the post or at the elbow even, but he felt more involved in the offense because he was making plays more. And I think with the space and the pace, it just allowed him to feel like he was playing a little bit more freely. And when you are doing that, now you're attacking the basket a little bit more off closeouts and you can get some layups going. And maybe you step into a couple of threes and you're in a rhythm and you see your first couple go down, and that just changes the court for you. So I think even though he's, a 34, 35-year-old vet at this point, that kind of stuff matters to him and all players. Is just feeling the right energy when you're out there. And I think the way that the Bulls played last year really benefited him. And I agree. I mean, I think this was probably, certainly his best year as a Bull, but maybe the best year that he's had in his career outside of his 2 All-Star years. So awesome year for him. And I wonder if it can sustain, because we've seen the highs and lows of his game, particularly with the three-point shooting, going from 29.4% 2 years ago to 40.2% last year. Like, that's a big thing, and that changes the way that teams guard you. It changes the way that you're able to produce. It changes the way that the floor looks. I mean, if there's an opposing big who has to race out to Vooch because they don't want to give up a trail 3, that the paint's wide open. Now Giddey can get downhill. And if they're just camping out down there and Vooch is wide open, not making shots, everything bogs down. And so I do feel like he, a lot of times we're talking about is the, long-term center option, a rim protector, rim roller type, like a Clint Capella or Rudy Gobert. Sure, there's pros and cons to that, but I think at the end of the day, the court is a lot more clogged up. And what Vooch does as a shooter and playmaker at the top of the key, particularly trailing the play, I think it's really, really valuable to who the Bulls are offensively.
I think it goes kind of unnoticed, and in my opinion, unappreciated, the amount that Vooch keeps the ball moving, especially with the way that the Bulls now want to play offensively and playing fast. And playing fast and limiting turnovers is a tough thing to accomplish.
Yes.
But Vooch, the 3.5 assists from your starting center is nothing to sneeze at.
No.
He's no Nikola Jokic, but he is Nikola Vucevic.
That's right.
And he, as like a passer from the elbow, he'll face up and find some space with his man covering him and knock down a 16, 18-footer from that spot on the floor. He can do that all day. Yeah. He can also whip incredible pinpoint, quick decision passes to corner shooters on the weak side.
Whip it good.
From that spot on the floor. Like, that part of Vooch's offense aiding the Bulls' offense at large often goes unnoticed, I think. Yeah. And for all of the talk about, oh, my God, Vooch is still here? Oh, my God. Like, who's our starting center of the future? Because it's not Vooch, who's going to be 35 this season.
Yeah.
And I get that. I get Bulls fans wanting to have that finality, I think, because once Vooch goes, it's like, okay, that's the last piece of this failed experiment, this failed roster that AK tried to build that kind of blew up in his face. And everything else, it's just sort of like second-gen aged players, the Kobes and the Ios and the Giddies, and younger now. But if you take Vooch out of the equation of the Bulls' offense, especially his role in the starting 5 of this offense, and replace it with who? Right now, Jalen Smith, Zach Collins, are either of them giving you what Vooch gave the Bulls last season?
No.
Not by a long freaking shot.
No, and that's no knock on Zach Collins.
No.
Too much, because he gives you something different.
Sure.
But you can't give you what Vooch is giving you. Let me ask you this question. As far as his continuing what we saw him do last season, and especially in that second half of the year, does what he did in the FIBA Eurobasket lend credence to the fact that he can continue what you saw him do in that second half of the year for the Bulls?
I don't know about the Eurobasket specifically. It's a fair question. We talk all the time about players who go play internationally during the summers, whether it's Olympics or otherwise, and trying to apply what we see there in that competition to what they might do next in the NBA. It's a common discussion. With Vooch now, it's like, to me, Eurobasket doesn't matter. We saw him put up big numbers in Eurobasket games. Did that surprise me? Not in the least, because he's still one of the best big men NBA. He's just still one of the best big men basketball players on the planet.
True.
Yeah, he's 34 going on 35, but he's freaking Vooch.
He is.
So I think, if anything, yes, it reaffirmed my belief that while he might be getting a bit long in the tooth, he can still produce at that position, and I think he will.
That's real.
We got to knock out a couple ads. When we come back on the other side, we'll put a bow on this, maybe look at some of the other names around Vooch in these rankings, and then we'll dive into the discussion of whether or not AK this season is it for him. Hit the like. Here's some ads.
Do it.
Today's show brought to you by Circa Sportsbook. Whatever the sport, the app to bet is Circa Sports Illinois. Circa Sports is sports betting the way it should be. Circa Sports Illinois has high betting limits, low holds, and exceptional customer service featuring real human beings. I love that. Circa Sports has it for you. Bet on all your favorite items and teams in every game this season. Spreads, props, futures, even in-game betting. Circa Sports has it for you. Get your bets lined up for week 2, a full slate of football. I am excited. Got some bets in this past weekend, did fairly well. Excited to go back to the well with some more bets on football. Fun to bet like a pro from anywhere, anytime in Illinois. So what are you waiting for? Download your new bookie today at circasports.com. Must be 21 and older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
You know what, fellas, ladies out there, call your wives. Tell them winter is on the way. It's coming. It's showing up, and it's not playing no games. Whoosh. So you need to be talking to Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric, ladies and gentlemen. You got to get yourself right. Or even if you're thinking about a whole home generator, they've got you covered, ladies and gents. At Four Seasons, they guarantee same-day installation for all your heating, cooling, plumbing, electrical, and generator needs with no extra charge for nights, weekends, or holidays. Save up to $4,000 on furnaces and comfort systems with Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. Furnaces starting at $39 a month, and furnace AC combos at $57 a month. At Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric, they've been serving Chicagoland for over 50 years. They're your trusted local experts, ladies and gentlemen. So visit fourseasonsheatingcooling.com for all their special offers and money-saving coupons. That's fourseasonsheatingcooling.com. Because for all the right reasons. Back!
Call 866-4 Seasons.
Yeah.
And we're back. Hit the like button right now if you didn't do it during the ad break. Peck, Big Dave, Goat, and Katie chatting here on a Friday show. Yeah. So Vooch, HoopsHype rankings, 13 in their list of top 26. Katie, do you want to put up those rankings again? We can take a look at some of the other names around Vooch here and who tops the list. Obviously, Jokic, no surprise at 2. At number 1 overall. Wemby,
that's a surprise.
Ahead of Karl Anthony Towns at number 2. You got Şengün and Embiid rounding out your top 5. Domas Sabonis, Zubats.
Shakur.
That's Big Dave's guy. Bam Adebayo, Jarrett Allen, and Rudy Gobert rounding out the top 10. Then you got Holmgren, Turner, and then Vooch with Kristaps a spot behind.
Okay.
Gentlemen and lady, anything jump out to you in these rankings that fits, that doesn't fit, that you're surprised by?
Bam's a little low, isn't he?
Bam's a little low?
8.
At number 8?
I feel like you can make an argument for him at 3.
Wow.
I don't think I would necessarily have him there, but I think you could make an argument for him up that high. He's the best defensive player probably on that list outside of Wemby. Versatile, playmaking, great rebounder. 8's
maybe he went overlooked because the Heat, after a couple of incredible out-of-nowhere playoff runs that he was a big part of, kind of just had a dud year.
Yeah, he had a bad year, but it was still an incredible defender and still somebody I desperately would love on this team for sure.
He's really good.
He's really good.
Dave, you, I think, are, or at least had been in the past, a Joel Embiid guy.
Yeah, for sure.
The always necessary, if healthy, then Embiid, MVP caliber player.
Yeah.
Him number 5?
Didn't bother me at all.
Didn't bother you at all?
Deserved to be number 5.
Okay.
With the injuries and not being out there on the floor, your best ability is your availability. And he wasn't available. And we don't know if he'll be available like that this year. Like your team clearly fell off a cliff because he wasn't there. Daddy wasn't there. He wasn't there to be, available for his squad. So having him top 5 center, I think that's a no-brainer, personally. He is definitely a top 5 center. But I can't really make an argument why he should be ahead of that when he's not out there on the floor contributing and helping out his team. You have to be out there on the floor, man. And it's just been really sad. I know he wants to play, and I'm sure it's been very disappointing for a lot of fans in Philly. Shout out PHLY.
Hey,
But man, dude, like him being a top 5 center is the bare minimum for me for that kind of player that he is. That's a bare minimum. Like you're a top 5 center. Of course you are. If you see you put up 70 points in a game, like you damn right you are, man. You are a special basketball player, but his body is betraying him a little bit. And he hasn't been able to get out there and do his thing. But that also just shows you just how incredible he is, the fact that he hasn't been out there on the floor, but we still won't question him being a top 5 center in this league. That's how good Joel Embiid is. But I hope he gets healthy, get it together, because the league is better when he's out there.
And, Goat, I know you are always thinking about not only what the player does, but the contract attached to the player and whether or not that can be an asset. And we're talking about a 34, 35-year-old Vooch entering the final year of his deal, and if he's healthy and producing, what that might mean for the Bulls. Because when you look at the top dozen before you get to Vooch at 13, Wemby's still on a rookie scale contract, but I mean everybody else on this list. Miles Turner just got paid by the Knicks, not like mega paid, but paid. Mm-hmm. Chet just got himself a big fat contract. Rudy's making bank. Allen making bank. Bam. Zubats, maybe not quite a mega contract, but Domas, Max, Embiid, Max, Şengün just got paid, Towns, Max, Jokic, Supermax. Like, Vooch is making $21 million this upcoming season. So when you're talking about the player and the contract, everybody ranked ahead of him, save maybe one or two exceptions, are all max level contract guys.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes this sort of era of the NBA and team building specifically so interesting. Because you're right. I mean, you look at this and like Vooch is on par, I believe, with Jarrett Allen. Zubats is like one of the best value contracts in the league with what he provided for the Clippers last year, defensively and offensively. I mean, he was just awesome. And I think he's around $15 million or less. So he's a really great contract.
That's a good value.
But I mean, you look at some of these guys and there's like a couple of different buckets that you put them in. It's like the generational guys in one way or another, right? You have Wembanyama, who's obviously like, you know, just one of the most strange and special physical players that we've ever seen in terms of his size and athleticism and shooting.
Logo.
Jokic is, I mean, one of one. He's an all-time great, 3-time MVP. Karl-Anthony Towns, one of the great shooting centers of all time. Şengün kind of in that same category as Jokic, obviously not anywhere close to as good, but similar style of player, as is Sabonis. And then you kind of drop back to some of the more rim-protecting guys, Jarrett Allen, Rudy Gobert, Zubats. And then you have the like rim protector and 3 guys with Miles Turner and Chet Holmgren, guys like that. And so what's interesting is I think Vooch is kind of in that category of similar to Jokic, similar to Şengün, where he gives you a little bit of everything, but he's just not as good as either of those guys. And so, yes, he's making less money, but I think what's happened in the league is that they've kind of wised up to, it's not just, is he this kind of player, so we pay him this kind of money. It's like, you either pay the really good guys as much as you can, or you get like the replacement level guy. And so those in-between players, whether it's at the center spot or otherwise, it's hard to justify trading for those guys. And so that's what I found so interesting about this is like, I think from a talent perspective, yeah, Vooch is probably in the right spot. You know, I don't have the rest of the list in front of me here, but like, I think you can make an argument for him up against anybody else behind him.
So like Kristaps, Naz Reid, Hartenstein, Jalen Duren, Jakob Poeltl, Derek Lively, and Onyeka Okongwu round out the top 20.
And like a lot of those guys are either rookie scale contracts or, you know, have health related stuff that like is a little bit scary, or they're like on, you know, bloated deals like the Hartenstein one, which was like 3 years, 90 million, something like that.
Shout out.
And it's just hard. Like, I mean, for teams around the league trading for a guy like Vooch, is he going to be your starter? Yes or no? And if yes, then yeah, it's probably worth giving up for him. But are you really an elite team then? If no, then he's maybe coming off your bench. Are you really paying a backup big $20 million, $21.5 million per year? That's a tough pill to swallow. So I think Vooch is just in an interesting spot where clearly he's incredibly talented, and no, he's not overpaid in the sense that like he's making, you know, an absurd amount of money for what production that he's giving you. I think in a vacuum he is appropriately paid, but the issue is relative to the league and how the league views that kind of money for that kind of player, there just hasn't been a lot of interest. So I think this year is really interesting when it comes to the Bulls and their build and where they're going from here with regards to Vooch, because you're right. I mean, he is kind of the last player that's carrying over from the original AK team. But I also don't necessarily think that there's going to be a lot of options out there for trades, and it has nothing to do with Vooch being a good or bad player. It has everything to do with the contract and what teams are looking for in a starting center or how much they're willing to pay a backup center.
So even around the trade deadline, let's say he's putting up these kind of numbers again, you still don't think it'll be a huge market for him?
I don't think so. I mean, unless there are injuries, like even if you look at some of these other teams, I mean, the Thunder, for example, they have 2 of the top 15 guys or top 20 guys. I mean, the Pistons, I don't think they're going to be in a hurry to move Jalen Duren to the bench.
True.
You know, I think injuries could really play a role, especially if teams are like performing well. If Zubats goes down and the Clippers are like trying to contend, maybe there could be a spot there. You know, the Pacers, maybe they decide they do want to push some chips in. They are obviously missing Miles Turner and Halliburton this year, but like maybe they can make a little bit of a run. Maybe a guy like Vooch could make sense there. But like the Cavs aren't going to be looking for a center. The Heat probably aren't going to be looking for a center. And even a lot of these teams, if they don't have a top 15 guy, it's because they have a rookie scale guy who they're trying to develop. And so I think it's just a tough marketplace for a guy like Vooch right now. And that's why, you know, I don't think there was a lot out there for him last year. And a lot can change with injuries or just with however the season goes. But I just don't see a huge market for him at this point. Understanding a lot can change.
I think that's logical and fair. And we even heard after the trade deadline passed that maybe the Warriors' interest or the Lakers' interest in Vooch was overstated, over-exaggerated. Obviously, the Warriors made a hard pivot if they were interested in Vooch and got Jimmy Butler instead.
Yeah.
So kudos to the Warriors for that move.
They did.
But, like, to me, there's a difference in the passage of a year of time. And Vooch playing on an expiring deal as opposed to a year and a half left. Because if he's producing and a playoff-bound team has a front court piece go down, I'm not saying the Bulls are going to get all kinds of terrific offers for Vooch as an expiring vet who can play, but they should get some level of interest.
Yeah.
Let's not forget, it was just 2 seasons ago now where there were reports of the Sixers offering 2 second-round picks for the services of Andre Drummond.
No, sir. 3.
3?
3 second-round picks.
Did I misremember that? Okay.
Well, the thing about that is
I
he's
had it
making
as 3
$5
in my
million.
head.
Like, it's just hard to absorb a $21.5 million salary, especially if it is for a backup spot. Maybe the Sixers are awesome this year and Embiid gets hurt and they want to go for it because they don't want to give up a bad pick. Like, there's going to be a team out there that I think could be interested. But I think the other thing to remember is with teams not letting their guys get to free agency as much, instead signing extensions, like expiring contracts aren't as valuable. And so you're either helping another team create more cap space so that they can compete with you, the Bulls, for free agents in the marketplace in 2026, or they just aren't going to be interested because like they don't want a rental. They want like a longer term deal. Maybe an extension gets worked out and he can sign an extension mid-season. There's obviously a bunch of different ways that something could happen. I just don't see like an obvious answer right now, and I think that's why he's still on the Bulls.
And like that's fair and fine. But like what I'm trying to figure out, if I dare put myself in AK's shoes.
Dare.
What a scary place to be. And I think AK loves Vooch. I think like you don't need to be a genius level tea leaf reader to know that AK loves Vooch. 3 years ago, or however, like when he re-upped Vooch for 3 years, 60, and a lot of Bulls fans raised their eyebrows at that. Like, really? Because some of us started to see the writing on the wall of what that team's ceiling was. So that didn't make a ton of sense to some people, but hey, he's still only 31, 32 years old at the time. Yeah. And AK said, continuity. Continuity's the plan. We need Vooch around for continuity plan to be a plan because he's our starting center.
Yeah.
Now, finally, you're entering the final year of did they really sign Vooch for 3 more years and 60 more million? You're entering the final year of that. And so much other veteran pieces of the roster that AK built, he has disassembled and turned over. At this point, if I'm AK, if my options are, I might not be selling high on Vooch, but I'm getting something for Vooch at the trade deadline, or, we go to the offseason, he walks to somewhere else to try and play for a winner in the twilight seasons of his career. Or option 3, we try to convince Vooch to re-up on another smaller veteran, not minimum, but mild contract. If I'm Vooch, I'm saying, dude, no.
Yeah.
No, I'm out. I want to go play and try and play for a winner.
Yeah.
I've made some money. I'll make some money on my next contract. Not here.
The one team I just continue to think of is if they're playing well and they're doing something right, then the Los Angeles Lakers will be a team that I will be looking at that might want to acquire the service of Nikola Vucevic. If they're playing, they make those kind of things happen where you don't see how it happens. If they're playing well and doing something, they still need that kind of center, I think.
At the same time, though, I could totally see AK being like, well, we can't make the play-in tournament if we trade Vooch. We need his production.
Yeah.
I can see
True. Got DeAndre Ayton, but,
Speaking of AK and trying to put ourselves in his shoes and what the heck he's thinking,
hate to tell you.
we're going to try and break that down next and talk about whether or not this upcoming season is the most important of the AKME era. Hit the like button.
Punch it in the thirst.
Here's some ads.
Katie. Welcome into Ray! Ladies and gentlemen, Ray Chevrolet and Fox Lake. They are slashing prices on new cars and giving you big savings all month long. Come in today and shop your model year in sales event and drive home with employee pricing on every new Chevy model. You can get $3,000 to $11,000 off MSRP, or check out their selection of over 125 vehicles priced under $20,000. With one of Chicagoland's largest Chevy inventories, you're sure to find the perfect vehicle for yourself. And as one of the top-selling Chevy dealers in the Midwest, you're able, and they're able, to keep their prices competitive, so you know you're going to get a great deal, because they also got that raised price promise y'all is going to let you shop confidently, because the price you see is the price you're going to pay. So don't miss out on the model year-end sales event going on all month for employee pricing on every new Chevrolet model. Shop Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake or RayChevrolet.com. They've been serving the community since 1963. Together, let's try.
Today's show also brought to you by Eye on the Ball. All right, athletes, here's a question. Are you serious about leveling up your game? Patrick Williams, anyone? Are you listening? Because the right coach can change everything, and now finding one is easy with Eye on the Ball. It doesn't matter if you're a kid just starting out or competing at the top level. You can sign up totally free at eyeontheball.net. Create your profile, search through coaches in your sport, and connect directly with the one that's right for you. From soccer to swimming, what up, Michael Phelps? Baseball to basketball. You name it, the coaches are there to help you get better at your sport. So what are you waiting for? Your future coach could be just one click away. Jump on today at eyeontheball.net. That's IEYE ontheball.net. Find your coach and take your game to the next level. Eye on the ball. We are back. CHGO Bulls rolling along, leading you into your weekend. Hopefully a gorgeous Chicago weekend. Soak them up while you can. Next thing on our to-do list to talk about today, Dave, you posed a pretty interesting question in our Bull Slack earlier this week.
Okay.
Do you want to kick this off?
No, you got it, bro.
No, well, I mean, it was your question, and it was fascinating, and I honestly hadn't thought about it. So why don't you tee this up? Because I think it's a pretty fascinating question.
Well, the question that popped in my head as we were having, several of our wonderful discussions. Pop. Was wondering, like, after, signing Josh Giddey and getting him, locked in and stuff. This question was asked before that happened. But I was thinking about having, Josh Giddey locked in, knowing Kobe White is going into his final year, knowing that Iota Sumo is going into his final year, knowing that several other players on this team will be in their final year. And the Bulls have kind of asked for patience, and about what they want to do, with this team. It made me wonder, is this the most important year for the Chicago Bulls front office? Because everything that they want is kind of right there. And I'm just speaking from what they want. It's kind of right there in front of their face. Now, it was what they wanted previously. Obviously, we saw the veterans with Lonzo, Caruso, Vooch, and DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine. What they wanted to do was get to the playoffs and be that kind of team. That didn't work out as they had planned, and they kind of, spit, glued, and greased their way for the past few seasons of trying to put a team out there on the floor. But now they're at that position to where they can have, some options going forward about what they want to do next season and maybe the season after. They'll have a ton of money ready to go. Depending on what they do, in the season, they may have some draft stuff going on as well. Depending, we'll see. But we know what they want to do. They want to win, and they want to be a team that wins and does, well out there this season. But even if they do, and they play that way, that next season, when they have all this money for the free agents to get, what free agents are they looking at? Who are they looking to pick up? Who are they looking to re-sign on the team? Are they looking to re-sign a guy like Kobe? Are they looking to re-sign Ayo? Because however they do it and however they're going to go forward, I think it may be the most important for them because it sets up what they want to do in the future. I didn't even mention Modest. I didn't even mention Essengay because they play into this as well. But I feel like this might be the most important season for the Bulls front office. And also, I didn't mention them getting re-upped as well, as far as getting their contract re-upped, getting Billy Donovan's contract re-upped. So they've got everything that they've asked for, and now it's kind of right in front of them for what they wanted to do. So now the excuses, Alonzo's knee, injury, all the other stuff is out the window. So now you have everything you want. It's kind of setting up to how you wanted to line it up and set it up. So now you have to go forward within it. So for me, that makes it the most important because it comes with responsibilities. It comes, with expectations. And so when those things start to happen like that, it makes it vitally important going forward.
Where do you come down on this question?
I think this is such a good question, and it's something I've been thinking a lot about and trying to figure out the right way to put it. And I don't know that I've come up with the perfect solution, but I think where I'm at right now is...
Why'd you even show up?
Why'd you show up? What are you here
Hey,
for?
if you guys want to do the show without me, I'm more than happy to let that
Goat
happen.
doesn't have perfect solutions.
I feel like Dave is right, though. It's like this is the year where we find out if the Bulls are serious.
Yeah.
Are they trying to eventually win or not? Because we've talked about the cap sheet over this week where the way that it lines up, you kind of have to make a move before you re-sign guys like Kobe and Ayo. And it's possible to bring those guys back and go out into the marketplace and either sign or trade for another star player. But once you've signed those guys and you fill out the rest of your roster, especially if it's longer term deals, then you kind of lose that ability to become a cap space team. You really have to line up your books in order to carve out enough space to be real players on the market. And even now with Giddey's signing, they don't have max money, but they could still trade for a max player mid-season, or they could still trade for a max player around the draft or before next offseason. And I think depending on how this season goes, this is kind of their shot to do it. And you recall back to 2020 when they traded for Vooch midway through the season, and that sort of kick-started their build of the team around Vooch and DeMar and Zach, and they kind of completed that the following offseason. I think just based on the way the books are lined up, this is kind of the time they have to start thinking about that. And why it's so important is because you just haven't had a lot of time to evaluate this core. The last 20 games of last season looked great. And if they could sit here and be confident that that's who this team and this group was going to be moving forward, I think they probably would have paid Giddey a lot more than $25 million. The fact is they didn't. And I think that signals that they weren't 1,000% confident in his ability to be a 20-10-10 guy, on 62% true shooting. That's a really tough thing to do. It's not like a criticism of him, but that's elite player stuff. And if he can do that, fantastic. But then you also know that you're ready to accelerate things a little bit. The window to do that is really small. If they do it, we know that they're kind of serious about, at some point, trying to put together a team that is more closely resembles a team that's trying to win. But if they let this season go by and they let next offseason go by, where they sign their guys and they bring everybody back and they're still saying what they said at draft night, which was, we don't want to put any undue expectations, we don't want to accelerate things, we don't want to make mistakes. Well, now you've just prevented yourself from being able to trade a bunch of expirings. You've prevented yourself from having cap space in 2027 when you can go out and make some moves. Trades can always happen. That stuff can always be ironed out later. So it's not like end all be all, but I do think the window is going to be this deadline to next offseason to make a big splash, to add to the core that they are building right now. And if they don't do that, I think you have to question, what is the plan here? Because we've talked a lot about the plan being to build through the middle, at a certain point, you have to like take the next step with that.
Yeah.
And I think the only way to do it, if you're not going to really prioritize your draft pick, is through trades and free agency. So even more reason why this window becomes so important.
Yeah, because the way they look is going to be very important to the free agents that are going to be available. So that's the question. Another question for me too. Like, if you guys go out there and they look great and they look like a team that's doing their thing,
young, up and coming.
Yeah, you know, like, okay, maybe free agents will be like, oh man, I like what they're doing. Let's get in there. You know what I mean? Let's see what we can do, because there will be room. Like I said, with all those guys moving out, there will be room for other free agents to get in there, and they can plug holes in that kind of way. That's why I feel it's so important, because if they're not that kind of team and they're not the team that they think that they are or want to be, then those free agents might not look at you the same way. They might look like, man, why? Why I want to come there and do that? I'm okay. Let me go somewhere else. And then you might end up overpaying for somebody's services in that kind of instance. So it can happen that kind of way. But that's why I find it so important, man, because it's on them. Again, I've said this a million times about Giddey, it being on him, but it's on them now too, because it's set up in the way they wanted it set up. Like there's no roadblocks. There's nothing kind of in the way of it. The only major roadblock I think right now was Vooch. And that was just, they thought that they could be able to trade him. Then they, wanted too much for him. They weren't able to do that.
Heard something about them laying the groundwork to trade him at some later date, though. So kudos for that.
But yeah, we'll see how that ends up and turns out, deadlines or whatever. But it seems like he'll be here, you know what I mean, for the foreseeable season, I should say, future of this season. But they have set it up, Matt. They have really set this up for themselves as far as how they wanted to do it, preaching for the patience, signing the young players they want, having the coach that they want as well. So now they want to get out on the floor and see what they truly have. Who takes that step? Does Modest take this step? Is Gay looking okay? How good is Giddey running this entire offense right here? Is Kobe White definitely another player of the month that we want to hang on to? Does Kevin Huerter really vibe with Josh Giddey in this offense right here? Is Zach Collins going to stay on the floor and not foul out so early on the squad? Like, it's so many questions for them, and it's so many things that just really, truly need to be answered, but they're not questions that they don't want answered. They're all questions that they want answered, because this is how they wanted to set it up.
And then that goes back to, something Billy said, as I recall, in some press conference mid last season, when he was like, yeah, I want to still be around. I want to help build something. I don't think we have all the answers right now. And I mean, the way that it was quoted, I think Cody Westerland, 670 shout out, the immediacy of his first tweet was like he got cut off in an awkward spot, and it basically sounded from the first tweet that Cody sent out that Billy just said, I don't know what the hell the plan is here. And they kind of corrected and amended that with the further elements of his statement.
Okay.
But I think that's fair to say, okay, now at least they've told us what the plan is.
Yeah.
Some of us ain't buying it, but they've told us what the plan is. And Dave, your question of man, this season looks like it's really important for AK is they're going to maybe get answers to most, if not all, of those questions this year.
Yeah.
You've dealt with the Zach LaVine thing.
Yeah.
You got you got Giddey under a new contract. You got your Giddey Kobe backcourt. You got Modest coming into year 2, looking for a breakout year from him. All of these young pieces, young players with experience are in place. Let's see how good it can be with a full season of this being the plan. I get that those are the stakes.
Yes.
At the same time, it's hard to not get caught up in the semantics of this question.
Okay.
Of is this the most important season of AK's tenure? Because first of all, are you talking about, is it the most important season of his tenure up to this point? Or his entire tenure? Because my answer would be the most important season as an NBA executive is always this one or the next one. That's the most important, unless, special cases like teams with injured superstar players like the Pacers and Celtics who are about to have a gap year.
Correct.
This season, if you are playoff bound, is the most important season. Even sometimes if not, you got to make those moves around the margins. If you're not going to the playoffs, to set yourself up for next season, the most important season of your tenure. Because guess where? Everywhere else in the NBA, you are an executive who is doing everything you can to keep your job and keep your seat from getting hot. That is not how things work here with our beloved Chicago Bulls. Because if you're talking about, hey, what's the most important season of AK's tenure? Who the hell knows? He's entering year 6, which sounds like a lot of years. And given my opinion of his job performance, maybe 1 or 2 years too many. But you mentioned the extension, Dave.
Yes, I did.
His predecessor, John Paxson.
Uh-huh.
How many years was he in power? Let me see. Let me do some quick math. 17 years. And he had to tell his bosses, a.k.a. the ownership group of the team, that he was firing himself. So when you talk about most important season of AK's tenure, we got a lot of tenure left, I'm afraid. Up until this point, I still would disagree.
Okay.
The most important season of AK's tenure was 21-22.
Okay.
And he made big swings, and he almost got it right. And my frustration as a Bulls fan ever since has been the fact that he swung big in that season, and it worked great.
It did.
For half a season, maybe even 2/3 of a season.
We enjoyed it.
And instead of trying to fix the minor problems of that roster after a 5-game exit in the first round, he sat for 3 years and said continuity, continuity, continuity. That to me was the beginning of the end, is not doing anything after the way that 21-22 season ended. That is why we are in this mucky, disgusting hole of mediocrity where we are. So I want to hear about all these questions we need to have answered this coming season. The question has already been answered. It's, can AK be a good NBA executive? My opinion, no. So I don't care about the stakes for a VP who just got an extension this summer. There are no stakes. He's going to applaud whatever modest development the young players on this team make and wherever their results are, and that'll be that. Most important season of AK's tenure, give me a break, not from his shoes. He has zero stakes.
And that's why
That's
why I tried to frame it as this is the year where we find out if they're actually serious or if they're just coasting, because it's easy to sit there at the end of a season and say, we lost in the play-in again, and obviously we showed some signs of growth. We had some development, but at the end of the day, we have aspirations for more. We want to win a championship. We want to bring a championship back to Chicago. Those are his words that he has said multiple times after the same season replayed over and over and over again. And so saying is one thing, but as you like to say is not like doing. And so this is the chance where they can actually prove it with their actions.
This is the doing.
And that's where the trade deadline and the offseason come up. I don't think it's necessarily going to be do they win 50 games this year? Yes or no, success or no. It's more is the groundwork laid for them to be able to push things forward a little bit? And if they decide that Modest is going to be a superstar and there's no need to go out and get a star player, I would probably disagree with that, but at least you could justify the lack of activity with, we're seeing legitimate signs of growth from players in our organization that we don't want to block them. That's fine. To your guys' point, Zach LaVine is not here anymore. DeMar is not here anymore. There's no fighting over the ball. It's Vooch is helping these guys get better. He's contributing to their development. Same with Giddey. I think that's an underrated element of this signing, is that he's going to help guys like Modest and Noah get better and develop as players. So is this end all be all? No. But I do think that if there's an opportunity for them to make a move and get a star player via trade or free agency, these next 365 days, that's the window. Yeah. And so if that passes, and nothing happens, then I think you can start to really be upset or frustrated with the lack of a plan here, the lack of any visible thing, because it's easy to sit here and say, we're building, we're growing internally, we're turning the roster over, we're happy with the 15-5 finish. That can be a frustrating response when you want more, but at the end of the day, they can say that. If it's the same thing that we've seen another 39-43 season, another play-in exit, another season where you have ups and downs from guys like Giddey or Kobe or Modest, and it's just what is the plan here? I think you need to really make some real pivots, because that's kind of the window to do it.
Yeah, and here's how I look at things, man. When I'm analyzing even players and front offices, even though I might know the answer to it, of what I feel about this person or how I feel about this front office, I need to see the excuses removed from around them. So I need to see the hedge cleared.
Right. Okay.
And then I'll use Jay Cutler as a prime example.
Cuddy.
When he was here,
douche.
When he was here, every year I would say, oh, he didn't have this. Oh, he didn't have that. Oh, he didn't have this. And I did that for probably the next 3 or 4 seasons. Then the year, I believe it was when Marc Trestman got here, I believe. It was, I think, his second year, when Mark Trestman was – well, no, not Mark Trestman's second year. Whoever was the coach after Mark Trestman, when he had everything.
John Fox?
It was when he had everything.
Okay.
It was when he had the contract.
Yeah.
It was when he had the receiver he wanted. It was when he had the offensive line he wanted. I remember he wanted Roberto Garza at center. Cool. You got Roberto Garza at center. He had everything that he really wanted, and you still got the same exact thing. That's when you knew. Now, all that stuff is removed. However you feel, however debates you want to have are gone. It's done. This is him. Accept it or not. That's what it is here for me with this. No matter how I might feel about what I think about AK and Eversley and their tenure and about what they do, I need to see the heads removed for everyone else to see. So they could have easily rested on the excuse, oh man, we didn't know how about Lonzo's knee and how severe it was.
Right.
You know, that kind of set us back a little bit, a couple years, so we didn't really know and understand.
When Derek went down,
exactly.
Fill in the blank.
Exactly. So when those hedges get removed, I mean, you know, DeMar, I mean, we didn't know Zach wasn't going to be healthy like that, guys. You know, give us a break here. You know, things happen. But, hey, look what we did. We went and got Modest. Hey, look what we did. We went and got Essengay. Hey, look what we did. We went and signed Giddey. We told you we want to have this guy. We got him. So now we got all this stuff here, guys. So now that you have all these things and you've got all the stuff that you wanted and you've preached for patience and you've said you want to be a winning team, you've told me the vision. You want to be a winning team. You want to get to these playoffs. You don't want to tank again, even though it's the 26th draft. You don't want to do this stuff. So now the pressure's on, in my opinion, because now it's on you. The hedge is removed now because everything is set up how you wanted it to be set up. Now it has to work. It's got to be some success here because if it's not, like you said, Gold, if it's not that success here, it's like, what are we doing? What are you leaning on? There's nothing to lean on for me after this anymore that you can point out that you can lean on. And that's what I wanted to see removed for this season.
And I think for me, it's like there's always something that you can point to or like make an excuse out of, whether it's Lonzo going down or Zach going down or Caruso or whatever it is. Like there's always going to be something that they can point to. Well, they lost 10 games, but they won 15-5 in their last 20. Well, you know, they finished, 14-9. Like there's always some small win that they're going to be able to spin out of a season because that's just the nature of a season, especially when you're one of the few teams trying at the end of the year, you're bound to have a good finish. So to me, because I think you're right, like this is the no excuses tour for
bring it back
Arturas in that way.
Yay, we
with
own
this
it.
group. But at the same point for me, it's always about the cap sheet. And that's why at this time last year, like start of last offseason, it was, DeRozan wants $40 million. Well, how's that going to happen with the cap sheet without making some serious changes? And does that make sense? Oh, you think Caruso's going to extend here? No, probably not. You probably need to trade him now. And that's when that happened. So you've been able to read the tea leaves of what might happen based on what's coming up with the cap sheet. And that's why they kept on saying flexibility in 26, flexibility in 26. That's what's happening. And as soon as you sign these guys, the flexibility is gone. So flexibility is great until you have to make the decisions.
Yeah.
And that's why this season is so critical to me, is because this is the portion of the season from now until either the deadline or the end of the year where you can do your evaluation. And based on that evaluation, you have to make decisions about Kobe, about Ayo. Do you want to keep Kevin Huerter? Is Zach Collins the center of the future? There's all these guys that you need to make decisions about.
All those questions,
And by the way, free agents, like, these players are good players, but like no one is a superstar, and you need a superstar to win. So it's all about the cap sheet to me, and that's how I know they're serious.
That's, to me, the cap flexibility plan that AK was harping on for a while there. He's like, we're going to be really flexible in 26, and that's already changed somewhat with some of his other transactions since he was starting to, proudly talk about cap flexibility. The 26 free agent class, and you're talking about the actual star players and even some superstar players, has already started to dry up. The guys signing extensions with their team this summer. I think most people expected that to happen. There is just less free agent action in the NBA than there used to be. Guys sign the biggest deal possible to stay with their team, and then when they want to leave, they request a trade. It's kind of the NBA world we live in now. So being cap flexible, if you can't actually lure big-name free agents to your organization with dollars to spend, most importantly, and a good pitch for why should you want to come play here?
Yeah.
The Bulls have one of those two things. You're, SHIT out of luck. What if the Bulls have 0 of those 2 things? Then it becomes about internal improvement. So in that sense, I get this is a very important season for AK to be able to come out and say, see, my plan worked.
Huh?
We're young. We've got experience, though. And those 2 things are great. And look at all this great internal developmental steps we made this year. Mm-hmm. Look at the strides Kobe made. He didn't make the all-star team this year, but he got really close. Josh Giddey played a hell of a year, averaged nearly a triple-double, did a lot of great things for us, making a step forward. Modest, big year, too. And we lost in the play-in tournament again. And now we got to pay these guys.
Then you
not just Giddey, but you got to pay. You got to pay Kobe. Mm-hmm. And you got to pay. Then the flexibility thing with go talking about how important the cap is and the Bulls books. You aren't signing free agents. You're just paying the guys you have to stick around, and the guys you have. There might be modest gains as far as what they as individuals can achieve on a basketball court and what they can achieve as a team. But I think anyone looking at this through a realist lens is saying, say Kobe, Josh, and Modest all take big steps forward this year.
Okay.
None of them make an all-star team, but they all play well. They're all healthy for a whole year. Where does that Bulls team top out?
Play-in.
Play-in?
Yeah.
I see another play-in.
Yeah. And again, that's why I feel it's important too. Why on their side, coming from their viewing point, because you're right, the way they get to analyze it now and the way they get to break these players down now and say, will this player be a part of our future? Will Kobe White still be here and be available for us? Is Modest that dude we hope he is? Is Josh Giddey that guy that we signed, that we took all this time to sign? Is he that guy for us? Like, all this stuff is going to be answered. And for me, it's vitally important to your future going forward, these answers that they have to get this season. Because we're not asking questions about veterans like that. And when I say veterans, I mean like 10-year guys.
Yeah.
We're asking about a team that's still in their 20s. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You're still figuring it out. Now, guys have been in the league 6 years, but they still pretty young, but you're still trying to figure out who fits where and what does what and who should I be giving this money to. So if guys are playing for that paper, because Kobe is playing for that paper. Yeah. Io is playing for paper. They're playing for pride and all those other things for sure, but it's their last year. They're playing for some paper. So when they're looking at that going forward, do they want to keep that together? Like you said, Matt, do they want to hold on to that? And what is that? Right. What does that look like? That is vitally important to figure out, because that's your next 5 years, man. And honestly, that's what this is.
And if that next 5 years is this team that has some young guys with experience, some even younger guys with less experience or no experience, and they all mature together, and this team marches towards being a version of the Baby Bulls from the aughts.
Oh, I would love that.
You know who else would love that? Jerry and Michael.
Yeah.
UC's full. It's a fun, scrappy young team. Might go to the first round. Couple of fun, entertaining home playoff games. Bada bing, bada boom. See you all again next year. Thanks, Bulls Nation. We love you. We're not going to the second round of the playoffs. Let's not be too hasty. Let's not get too greedy. But that to me is the equation that AK is working on right now, and that's exactly the ceiling of where they're headed. Is Baby Bulls first round exit. That to me, that is the ceiling of achievement of this collection of players they have right now.
To be fair, the Baby Bulls did win in the first round.
Yeah, they upset an injury-decimated
still
Miami
win, baby.
team.
Got the W. Go ahead.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with being a young, scrappy team that wins a playoffs round. It's just that's a stepping stone to me, not the destination. And so I just think you have to be willing to keep improving, and we haven't really seen that so far. The one caveat I wanted to make on the cap sheet is they could do 1+1s or 1-year deals and kick the can down the road to 2027, even if they sign Kobe and Io. Maybe you move off some guys, maybe you combine salaries down the road. So there would be more opportunities, but at that point it's just okay, you're going to run it back for the third straight year with the same group. And that would be year number 3 of the Giddey, Kobe, Io, Kevin Huerter, core. And so then it's just can we start to see some real growth for them, or is this just what the plan is? And again, I think a lot of that will come down to what we see this year, and recognizing how serious this front office is about actually winning one.
Yes. Yes.
AK is going to bring continuity back, like baggy pants from the 90s.
Hey.
They're both back, baby.
Oh,
That's going to be freaking
wear 'em
hilarious when he's like, okay, it's continuity 2.1. No, wait, is it continuity 4.2? I don't know. We're doing continuity again, y'all. Get on board.
Get on board.
That's going to do it for today. That's going to do it for this week. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in today. And if you tuned in to all 5 shows today or this week, kudos on you. Hit the like button on your way out. If you haven't done it yet, Katie will find you, or she will make threats about Bulls contracts.
A lot.
And she will follow through on them.
A lot of threats.
Katie is the queen of the control. Shout out to her for working hard as always. Will the Go Gottlieb, Will_Gottlieb. Read your stuff, allchgo.com. Very cool Noah Asenge piece coming soon. Become a diehard so you can read it. Big day, bow. BAWL Sports. Bow. I'm Bulls_Peck. We are CHGO_Bulls. We love you. Appreciate you, Bulls Nation. Make sure you hit the subscribe on the way out, too, if you haven't subscribed yet. Have a wonderful weekend.
Yeah.
We will see you on Monday.
Go Bears.
See red, be good, bear the F down.
We all silly like the mayor.